my feel-good breakfast show.
Well, a very big good morning to you. I hope that you are seated and comfortable because we're going to get into some spicy conversation now. We focus on a lot of things on Tuesdays, I'd say, and one of them is relationships. And today in particular, we are talking about unrealistic dating expectations.
Yes, we are. So before we get into this conversation, let's just take a look at this viral clip of a man sharing his dating requirements.
So the type of woman that I'm looking for, she has to have a car. Car is a very important requirement because I don't have any car. So you can't have two people that don't have car. We'll just be walking everywhere. And summer has started already, so the weather is getting very hot. We need a vehicle. A house also, no rental. I don't want anybody that is renting anywhere because I can't be renting and she also will be renting. She has to have her own house that we can move into together. Invariably, money, she has to have money too because you can't have two people that don't have money. That way she can help me invest some of her money.
Yeah, man, the man had a full-on list there.
If I've got all those things, what are you bringing to the table?
This is true.
The question we got to ask. Well, joining us right now is Daniela Mayer. She is a FAMAC accredited family therapist, divorce mediator and parenting coordinator, and also Sadia Southgate, a HPCSA registered counselor, as well as a psychologist supervisor, as we explore the harmful effects of unrealistic dating requirements.
Good morning, ladies.
Good morning. And those were unrealistic. Come on.
Those are chuckles in response to the video, right?
Lovely. We're over here.
Goodness me.
Listen, let's get straight into this because there's a lot to uncover here with this topic and I want to dive straight into it. What exactly is social media doing right now? I mean, what's going on with that video, number one? Number two, what's happening to these expectations that we are now creating in relationships? What's going on?
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
Can I jump right in?
Yes.
What is social media doing to everything?
Yeah.
This is
I
true.
mean,
Yeah.
is it just relationships?
Yeah.
We look at social media and we look at everybody's idea of what we think is right. But what do we have to compare it to? Is it personal experience? Should we ever be looking at somebody else's experience and thinking that is what I want? Because we don't know if that's true or not.
And why are we even comparing in the
Exactly.
first place?
Exactly.
Yes.
So I don't know if you want to add to that notion of social media and how it's actually destroying so many areas of our personal lives.
I think the answer just, ties into just the term social media influence. Because when you look at that term, social media influence often portrays, an unrealistic, as you say, expectation, unrealistic, not just expectation of relationships, it's of, your partner, of families and friends, it's a job. It's quite holistic as well. And in that regard, when you look at it, it's just a whole lot of things that, it's fantasy, it's what you would like, not necessarily what reality actually is. And once you're actually in a relationship, then you actually are faced with the reality of this is actually not true.
And it comes fast and it comes hard, let me
Absolutely.
tell you. Thank you for that, Sadia. I'm telling you, social media is just a highlight reel. And when you get into the
Absolutely.
nitty-gritty, then who do you call, Can't be calling Ghostbusters at that time. Well, let's get into dating requirements in particular. I think that when you step into a relationship, you kind of come with a whole list of things and you want to tick the boxes, right? He's got this, he's got that, he's got that. And if he doesn't, we keep it moving. But sometimes that might actually exclude potential in somebody. So where is the balance? How do we exactly navigate without also dropping our standards?
Yes, I think, what reminds me of online shopping, there's in the search bar, there's that filter.
Yeah.
So you can filter out what it is that you don't want to actually get to the product that you do, item that you do want. But oftentimes when we get to filtering out what we're looking for is often sold out. And that's what it comes down to with relationships and setting that standard. Yes, we don't necessarily want to lower our standards or expectations. Expectations are good for any relationship. I mean, when you go into a relationship and have no expectations, then, that already is like, like a red flag. So when you renew your mind to that, it's important to also know, that these are certain expectations, it is that I do have and it's okay. But whatever I'm bringing, there's an expectation expectation that my partner is also meeting me, not halfway, because I say relationships isn't 50-50, it's 100-100
Sure.
for both parties, because if I'm only giving 50%, then where's my other 50% going to?
I love that. This may be a curveball though. Let's say I'm someone and I have my own particular boxes that I want ticked, right? And I know this because of what I think I want. But relationships offer you this opportunity to discover things about yourself.
Absolutely.
Hopefully it's a good enough relationship where you're completing each other, right?
Yes.
If I'm adamant on what I want in a relationship, could this not potentially exclude me from the good stuff that I might still need to experience in life? I know this is a tricky one, but I don't know. Do you have an answer to this? How would I navigate this better?
My answer to this is really my answer to everything regarding relationships and friendships. And that is, before you even embark on this kind of a journey, make sure you know yourself.
Yeah,
Make sure that you understand what like really makes you tick. When you go into a relationship looking for an unrealistic expectation of somebody completing you, you've got a problem. Because then what you're doing is you're living your life hoping that they're going to bring all those things you don't know about yourself.
Okay.
So what do we need to do? We need to focus on what makes us genuinely happy. I personally come from a background of divorce. I work as a divorce mediator, so I often see the relationship at the end, and I often see the failed relationships. But what that does is it gives me this holistic view of what maybe we shouldn't do. The one screaming situation constantly is don't jump into anything too quickly. Don't jump into anything until you understand. And another very important thing is know your worth. Know your worth, because when you know what you deserve, and obviously you have a responsibility to give that to your partner as well, you don't settle and you don't feel like you can't explore what might come up in the future. You have that support.
Well, Daniela, what if what I love is money, right? And that is what I'm leading with when pursuing my potential partner. Is it a case of I can come just as I am and you kind of have to meet me where I'm at? Because we're kind of seeing a lot of that these days. I mean, with the rise of blesses and with the rise of just women kind of establishing this is the transaction that we're going through. I bring the beauty, you bring the money.
I am so happy that you asked that today, because I have just listened to the most fantastic podcast by a divorce lawyer in New York, James Sexton, and he answered this question so perfectly. If you are authentic, it doesn't matter what the relationship is about. So if you go into a relationship, he calls it an economic exchange, really. When you go into a relationship and say, hi, I'm fabulous, I'm bringing the beauty, I'll stand on your arm, and in exchange, I'm not going to work, but you're going to support me and provide the money because you've got it, and both of you agree, then what's the harm? And this is what he's going with, that he doesn't like the term gold digger, because if it is an agreement between two parties, and I know I can bring this and you can bring that, where's the harm? The problem is when that's not discussed at all, when it's like, we're going to do this 50-50, we're going to raise a family, whatever the story is. Oh, but wait a second, now that we're married, I just need you to know one thing, is that I'm going to the gym and I'm getting my nails done. Enjoy work. You know, that is where the problem comes in.
So communication, right?
Yeah, but I like this because it goes beyond communication. What this is actually explaining to me is that we have a complete misunderstanding of what relationships are. It's your own agreement, it's your own relationship, it's your own rules that you get to create and define. And this could be an opportunity as well. Maybe this is an opportunity for the good or for the bad, Mzansi, but what do you think? Come through, let us know what your thoughts are on this situation by heading over to our social media pages at Expresso Show. Let us know with maybe leaving a voice note or just a note of any kind. And the number again is 063-408-8863. And let me tell you, this conversation is just getting started. We want to hear from you what you think is playing into the relationships, what these expectations are, and maybe you've got your own rules. Let us know, and we'll carry on this conversation in just a bit.
Only you can make my day. It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Well, things are getting heated here as we're delving into conversation all around unrealistic expectations. And joining us right now, of course, we've got Sadia and Daniela. We have to continue this conversation because these are accredited people when it comes to guiding us through relationships. And we've actually got some voice notes from our people.
We do. Listen, the conversation we had earlier has definitely sparked some interest online. Mzansi's going crazy right now. We've got voice notes, we've got comments coming through. So I don't know if these are opinions that are agreeing or disagreeing with us, but they are opinions nonetheless. So Mzansi, what do y'all have to say right now? Let's say what's up.
Good morning, Expresso team. My name is Noxie, and my expectations in a relationship, or rather, in a partner, would be loyalty, number one, and secondly, would be trust. It's very important for your partner to be able to trust you. Thank you.
Yeah, these are vital, obviously. I don't think we need to say much about these. These are two pivotal things that are needed in a relationship. I don't think we can say much. Yeah. More voice notes to come. Let's see what, I think this is Shamima. Yeah.
My name is Shamima. What I want in a partnership and a relationship is honesty, trust, respect. There is nothing like that today. Today's partnership, they actually very materialistic, and there is no honesty. Just so much cheating. I actually don't know. In the old days, our parents, they were brought up with morals. Today, it's just whatever. And that is so wrong.
Today is just whatever.
We live in Sin City, according to Shamima. I almost get that. I think going back to our first point about social media, I think it's created this culture of I can get better, I could have more, and it's always outside of your current relationship, right?
It's something I also realize, and something I maybe even experienced myself, and I'd love to hear a comment on this, but for me, I think for the better parts of my previous relationships, having these feelings of anxiety and not sure what's going on, you don't know why, but it's so simple. If I don't have the trust, if I don't have that commitment, if I don't know what's going on in a relationship, I'm bound to feel that way. And I think what Carissa says now, don't you feel like the social media has created this environment when it's almost inevitable for the breakup? It's like breakup is inevitable. It's like divorce is inevitable. It's like, why do relationships have to have this finite moment? Why does it not last forever anymore like it used to in the past?
Yes.
What do you think has changed?
Yes. I think, what has changed is social media. We see a lot of things there, and when we look even in comparison to the video that we've seen, these expectations are things that you can't control, and it's things that's always going to change, like money, a house, a car. Those are things that you're always going to want more. There's always things changing, but when it comes to honesty and, commitment, loyalty, and those kinds of things, those are things of the heart, Not people don't necessarily see that, but they feel that as, it's something that you were speaking about, like that anxiety also. But when we look holistically at the term unrealistic expectations, it often leads to feelings of inadequacy, with anxiety, depression, disappointment, and I often say unmet expectation leads to disappointment.
Wow, you got to know your worth, step in as a whole person before you even pursue a partner. I love that reminder. It's so beautiful. Well, let's have a look at what Mzansi's saying in the comments. Gretchen had something to say.
Lots coming through. She says, whatever requirement you have of the other person, you should be able to fulfill that requirement yourself as well.
Okay.
Ooh.
So we're both bringing something to the table.
Do you agree to that? You agree on that?
I disagree on that.
Okay.
Interesting.
Let's read the question again.
All right, let's just go back to the comment if you can. So Gretchen says, whatever requirement you have of the other person, you yourself should be able to fulfill that requirement yourself. We don't always agree with this. Why?
So the two things I want to say, I've read it two different ways now. Are we expected to be able to fulfill that requirement for ourselves? In which case, what are we looking for in the relationship? Number one. And number two is, are we expected to fulfill that for somebody else? So the first way I read it is, if you come into a relationship with me and what you're looking for me is support and unconditional love, let's say, I'm not necessarily looking for that from you. So I don't need you to fulfill that for me. We all come into the relationship, like I said before, knowing who we are and knowing where we're looking for support or value. My biggest thing is a relationship is supposed to add value to your life.
Yes.
It is supposed to make challenging situations more manageable. It's not designed for drama. It's not there to create unnecessary tension. So if somebody's adding the value to your life, that's wonderful. And I think the conversation is the expectations, even if they do seem unrealistic to start with, the communication, having that discussion, what do you need from me in order to maintain the feeling of being valued and giving me value? And when you can discuss that openly, then all of a sudden you realize that this is a partnership that's worth pursuing.
Oh, those are some gems, some nuggets. Daniela, thank you so much for joining us, as well as Sadia. I really have been taking so many notes in all of this, because even though I'm in a relationship, you can continue to learn, right?
Yes.
Continue to communicate your needs and desires as you move on through. Thank you so much, ladies. And of course, that is all from our relationship talk until we're back again next Tuesday. See you again next week, same time, same place. But don't go anywhere, because we'll be back after this break.
All you can